What's up?
All right. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I'm gonna just say I'm gonna go on record right now. Let me go on record right now for everybody who's listening, who's coming in. Come on in real quick. I want you to hear this. I like the other intro better. The countdown is basic. That's basic and pedestrian. That's
Hey,
fine. I like the other intro better. I'm just saying.
This is the elevator intro. That's all. This is just elevator music. I just tried to change it up a little bit. To be quite honest, sometimes the one video that's really up tempo, it causes a lot of copyright issues. And they flag it on YouTube. So I got to go into my legal book and change the wording around.
Okay.
That's what it is. But I'll still play it again. But it's just
I got it.
A little bit.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon. Good morning to some around the world. Hope everyone is doing well. And welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Charles Dixon. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford.
What's up, fam? Good to see y'all again this week. Missed y'all last week, man. Sometimes you got to work that job. You got to do what you got to do. I'm just saying, I didn't want to have to.
You got to keep the change coming in.
That's right. That's right. You got to have that. I was going to say cheddar, but that's not what they say no more. So
don't be all dated back in the 90s. Back in the 90s, drug Rayful Edmonds.
Got to keep that bread coming in. Got to keep that bread. Nobody say bread no more, do they?
Right, cheddar. All right. So, Mr. Ford, today we have a pretty interesting topic. Is we do a lot of conversations about a lot of things, but this particular one really deals with the foundation of relationships / marriages and things like that. Okay. And if you really think about it, it's probably one of the more important ones, because unless we have solid foundations, we're unable to grow to where we really want to go.
Okay.
So today's topic is imperative. Are the bricks built off of trust or lust? Now, before we get too deep off into this, I will say this. Certainly we don't want to have a relationship filled with lust alone, because let's be transparent. Most of us, when we make the acquaintance of someone that we're interested in or trying to get to know, or as we say today, we caught a vibe. Right. Me and person X caught a vibe. So when you catch a vibe, you're saying to yourself, because at that moment, you're not saying, "Oh, Adam, he sure does pay his bills on time." You're not thinking that. You're not saying he's such a consistent. He gets up and go to work every day. When you see people, man or woman, you see what we see in the physical. Yeah. And a lot of times that's the thing that sticks with us, right? To drive the pursuit, right? To drive the text message, the phone calls, to drive you wanting to see them, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So I happen to think that a dose of lust is good to keep you. I think there was that old movie when Eddie Murphy was in it, where it was one time he was playing like the vampire. I forget what Vampire in Brooklyn. And he said on one of the scenes, he says, "Evil is good." He was trying to say evil was playing the role to make things good in that moment. Okay. So I'm saying that to say, when it comes to lust, you can't have something totally fully driven by lust. Right. But I believe there needs to be a certain lustful component to keep that heightened awareness of who is in front of you. Because I think if you get too comfortable, there is no wow factor. That's the fastest way to a boring scenario. And we don't want, and granted, nothing's going to be exciting all life and all year long. But you do want to be able to look at your person and be able to have that lust element, like, that's my person. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing like that. Right. So basically we're starting from the position of, if we're going to build this thing correctly, what are the best pillars to start with to have a great foundation? We'll start with you, Mr. Ford.
Okay. I mean, just to kind of piggyback off of what you just said, I think there is you say lust, I'll say attraction. I'll say appeal.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Physical attraction. I think physical attraction between two partners is something that's necessary. It shouldn't be the end all be all of the relationship. But again, whenever you first meet somebody, if you're not blinded or you have some type of optical obstruction in your eye that keeps you from seeing them,
Right.
that's the first thing that you see is how they look physically, and it should be something that you are attracted to. You should be physically attracted, and they should be physically appealing to you.
Right.
Otherwise, it's going to be a hard start in terms of really developing the chemistry, the conversation, the rapport that you need to have with that person so that you can see this relationship continue in a long-term experience.
Right.
Again, it's not the end all be all of your relationship, but there is an aspect, let's be honest, there's an aspect of physical attraction that should be taking place within that relationship. Now, getting to the question or the conversation of the foundation, it absolutely should be, and it should begin with communication, because without communication, you don't have a place to start. If we haven't started talking, if we're just looking at each other and just kind of thrilled about what we see in terms of our eyes, and there's no conversation, you have nothing to add, you have nothing to build on or upon because of the fact that we're not talking. It can't be just about an exchanging of images and how we look physically, but it also has to be an exchange of ideas. It has to be an exchange of personality. It has to be an exchange of what we hold true, our values, how we see ourselves, where we want to go. That has to take place in conversation. And yeah, if you're not a mind reader and you're just looking at the person, you'll never know what their thoughts are until they actually begin to talk to you about how they really feel.
Yes. All right, that's great. So if I took a step back and I think, when I think foundation of anything, especially consisting of two, let's just say two pillars.
Okay.
We're the two pillars.
Yeah.
The foundation first needs to be solid. So if they're going to be two pillars, then we're looking at two individual responsibilities. And what comes to mind when I think of foundation by way of two individual people is self-esteem.
Okay.
That's one. Okay. And so the thing that's unique about self-esteem is, if you break it down, it is self, that means you. Esteem is what you are able to do for you. Like esteem you, right? Esteem you. So with that being said, each of us have a responsibility to level up. So the foundation, you know how in building anything, the contractors have to make sure the playing field is leveled out. That means Adam is secure, this person is secure, and we begin to build from there. So if you have a person that is secure and good in their skin and trying to build upward, and then the other person, the foundation is not so much, it's shaky, it's mushy, then what's going to happen is once that edifice gets to being built, it's going to start sinking in one direction.
It's going to be unstable. It's going to be unstable. Yeah.
So that's why you have to be able to first things first to me is let's level set and let's take an honest assessment, because a lot of times, just like in the home buying process, people get so we get so excited about going to look and what they look like and all this, but we don't take a proper inventory of, can we really do this?
Okay.
Before we get all excited, does this make sense for us to do on paper? Do we balance out? Right. And then you go from there and you try to make it work. But so I think we start there, and sometimes what that may look like, if for level setting, is you have to say to yourself, am I in a healthy enough mindset to commit to accommodating to one another's needs? Right. So that's basically you're setting and respecting boundaries. You are able to talk and listen constructively. Right. You're letting go of control. Yeah. And you're reflecting and you're learning on that process. It's like a repetitious cycle. That's how you get to sort of understand one another's chemistry and flow, and you'll know how to sort of build, or know when to build, know when to pause. Because it's like with anybody that's any construction company that's building, they have a certain time of the morning they start, certain time of dusk they stop. Right. So we have to do that as people. We build to a degree, and we look over at our counterpart to see what their progress is. And then we keep going. You know what I'm saying? Until we get it to where we need to have it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it has to be a teamwork. It has to be a teamwork effort. You know, you do your part, I do my part, and then we all come together in the end. And so it needs to be a teamwork part. But again, I just want to reiterate that, that physical attraction is a part of the dynamic of a relationship. Let's not sit here and act like that it's not. Yeah. I think the problem comes in where physical attraction is just it. We're physically attracted to him, we're sexually attracted to him, and that's all we're talking about. That's all we're thinking about. That can't be the only part of the foundation of your relationship. Yeah. Let's put it like that.
And like you said, as we know, especially in today's this show is so important because in today's world, just what you just said is everything. The physical is all we're shopping for. It's like when we see something, we have to immediately obtain it, immediately consume it. Right. And so this is why we have so many failing relationships, because the greater bulk of them have started from an attraction, but has never shifted to an understanding enough to have a foundation to be able to build the trust from. Because if you think about it, most of us hop from one disappointment to one excitement. We go from disappointment to potential excitement, disappointment again, excitement over here. It's like we playing hopscotch. We going from one person to the next. This person, I really like them. They talking good. They hurt my feelings. Hop over here, and there is no foundation being set. Everything is being ran from what we hear that sounds good, what we see that looks good. And we're just running amok just like that.
Yeah. Well, in all honesty, let's think about this for a second. Let's put on our thinking caps and really consider this situation for what it is. And that is the fact that if I'm in a relationship with you, and we're coming together, that means that we have committed ourselves to personal development in terms of my own personal development and the development of the relationship as a whole. I get a little, you get a little. I give a little, you give a little, which means that the relationship will continue to grow and progress, i.e. evolve to the next stages and phases that it should, so that we can continue to be with one another. Okay. But this evolution cannot be sustained if it's only on one aspect of the relationship. Physical attraction, in terms of how you look, is going to change. Let's come on again. Those of us who are 50 and plus, let's be real. Let's talk for a hot second. Okay. If it's just about physical attraction to you, okay, then sooner rather than later, your physical attraction is going to wane. It's going to wither. It's not going to be the same as it was 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 15 years ago. And so what you need to consider is that the person that I'm with is not just with me for how I look. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The person that is with me is not just with me for what I can do for them physically. But there has to be something more substantive than just my physical looks and the way that I can perform. It has to be more than that. Again, this is why I'm talking about the evolution of your relationship, because evolution speaks on development on top of development on top of development. If my relationship has remained the same from the day that we met to where we are at this point in time, then there's something wrong. Has that relationship has not experienced any growth? No change has taken place within that relationship. Come on, guys. Yeah. In all reality, everything around us in the natural world grows and develops and evolves. Trees grow, Animals grow, okay? But we don't want to grow as personal people, and we don't want our relationships to grow. And again, I'm not talking about necessarily the feelings that you have. Yes, you should continue to have those feelings that you had on the first day, okay? But even with those feelings should mature. Those feelings should grow to the point where it doesn't necessarily matter if you look a certain way. I'm more attracted to who you are on the inside than I am the outside. That's going to be the thing that sustains that relationship from day one to the last day.
Wow. Quick question. So for people who, again, we could say things in the way, like even the way we may phrase the show title and even the things that we're saying. But I'm almost convinced that there are some people who probably find difficulty seeing the difference between a relationship that's founded upon lust and one that's founded upon the right stuff. Do you kind of have somewhat of it? I'll give an example too, but do you have somewhat of an example of what a relationship may look like that's based off of the right stuff than one that's based off of probably majority of lust?
Oh man. Okay, so let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. When we were younger, when we were like, maybe our preteens, maybe in our teenage years, maybe young adulthood, the thing that counted the most for us was the way that they looked, the women that we were, or the girls or the ladies that we were after, the way that they looked and the way that we looked. Because again, this was the first thing that held value for us. If you looked a certain way, then I want to get with you. You know what I'm saying? Then that's, you got, come on, you got the body, you got, or maybe it was the eyes, you know what I'm saying? Come on. that was the thing that was drawing you in when you were younger, because that was the thing that you placed value on. And so most of that was based on a surface experience. It wasn't very deep. It was shallow, if anything. Yeah. Okay. And so it was something that did not last as long as it could have if it was something of more substance. Now, the older you get, and this is my hope, I'm talking about an ideal thing right now. Yeah. The hope is that the older you get, it's not just physical attraction, but it's physical attraction plus conversation, plus chemistry, okay, plus intelligence, plus emotion, okay? These are the things that make a relationship last as long as it can last. But if it's just based on the lust aspects, then it's not going to last very long. It's going to be fleeting. It's going to be a leaf in the hot sun. It's going to dry up real quick because there's nothing to sustain it. If you're just operating off of, ooh, she got it good. Let me get with that right there. She got it. Ooh, he got it. Ooh, let me get some of that right there. If that's it, and I know I sound crazy saying that, right? But if that's all, I don't know what do they say today. Now I'm really dating myself. What am I saying? Y'all not helping me out. Y'all not helping me out.
Yeah, listen, people. From what I kind of gather is, let's start with the lust side.
Yeah.
A lustful foundation is often unforgiving. And when I say unforgiving, when something is built off of just a unilateral direction, whether it's your body, what you do sexually, what you look like, or whatever, whenever you fail to produce those things, it becomes a problem.
Okay.
Like, see, don't get me wrong. A person can be upset even in a good foundation if they're not getting specific needs met. Okay. But it's a difference. When something is lustfully based, the person's soul, their loyalty is to that item. Whatever that object is, that's what they're connected to. All of the rest of you, they really don't ask those questions that are necessary to the future, to things that tend to lead to growth. They're they live in the moment of sensuality, sexuality, and things like that. You're always being told you're beautiful. Oh yeah, every question, everything is yeah, beautiful. Yes, right, baby. So and so. Everything is kind of lust driven as opposed to holistically, where it's just like, okay, yeah, you're beautiful, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna do this Friday or whatever. But what about our path here? See, it's like when it's a good ground, the person is concerned about how do we align and how do we stand up under pressure? Because if we're going to grow up, we need to make sure this is right. So let's just say a man that's taken the lead as the lead project manager on the building, which he should, right? He's going to continually make sure that foundation is reassured. He's going to ask those questions. He's going to point those directions in the way that we need to do to make it out of this position that we are now in order to move up to the next level. So if you're not getting those things, but you're getting, things that kind of keep you stuck and keep you questioning what is this about? Is it just physical? Then 9 times out of 10, it probably is. Like if you're thinking it as a grown person, we're not talking about teenagers, as a 40 plus, 35 and over, whatever. If you're thinking to yourself, is this only this? It probably is.
Probably is, yeah.
It probably is, because it is probably the most consistent thing about whatever you have.
Right.
So, and if it's something that's to it, that's more, then that something is going to show itself. Or do we have to take a personal inventory and say, am I in some way or another blocking this from growing? Because sometimes it doesn't mean that somebody cannot just be attracted to you and also want to do other things and grow and move about. But sometimes we have things within us, if we're honest, whether it is trauma, past hurt, past experiences, sometimes we get in the way of it. Just being honest, we allow our experiences to handicap us and sort of render us neutralized in the midst of the relationship, which will hinder anything that you try to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. And I guess you need to be cognizant of that fact, that there are things that can possibly hinder the relationship if you're not aware of them, in terms of, well, I guess, so you do a self-check, you do a self-inventory. Why am I with this person? Am I only with this person for the way that they look and how they make me feel? Or am I with this person because I genuinely want to be with this person, regardless of how they look? That's the question that you really need to ask, because that's going to determine the longevity of your relationship. Because again, if you're with the person just for how they look, I guarantee you it happens to everybody. Those looks are going to fade, and they're not going to be. The reality is who we present ourselves as is not even completely true to who we really are. We present how we want to be perceived, not the reality of who we really are. And so when people buy into the idea of who we want them to believe that we are, and then they get to see who we actually are, we're going to be a little disappointed.
For sure.
You think your eyelashes really not that long? You mean your lips not really that red? Wait a minute. What's up with your hair?
But let's just be honest. Most of us, the world, the atmosphere at large has indirectly hired all of us as life actors.
Wow.
Like there are actors out there that get paid. And they go into the makeup room before they go on to the show or what have you. And then there is us. We ourselves have indirectly signed up to become the back screen actors. We the extras. We move around in life, in character, presenting what we want to present, giving what we want to present, and we go from there. And like I always say, one of the most disappointing things about acting, or let's just say in real life. So if I'm a producer, and if I hire Robert De Niro, one of my favorite actors, to come onto my set, and I'm calling myself redoing a mob movie, like, you're going to be the boss. I want to see you do all the stuff that you do in your movies. And then he goes out there and he does an okay job. But because we are a fan of him, you know what his potential is.
Okay.
Now, that same producer, Martin Scorsese, calls him over there and says, all right, we're going to redo The Godfather and we'll put you as a predecessor and you're going to lead the family. He gets over there and does an Oscar-worthy nomination acting job.
Okay.
So what am I saying? A lot of times, some of the most disappointing things is when we see someone else get something out of someone that we called ourselves offering the same benefits to. And then people go over there and they act totally different. It's like a reality check. You're like, wait, was I married to you or with you? Hold on. Who are you that you're over there acting like this? What kind of a foundation sprung this change in you? Because when we were building, I never saw this. You get my drift? When you and I were building this, I'm the same person. You're you. If we're using this methodology, this method of building, why aren't we getting the same result?
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, I think it had so on one level, again, I'm going to refer back to what I was saying earlier, the fact that as people, as an individual and even as a collective, we ought to be growing. We ought to be developing. We ought to be progressing. We ought to be moving forward, which means that the person that I am or the person that I was 10 years ago, I'm certainly not the same person that I am today. I share some of those qualities, some of those similarities, but if I'm really doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then I'm growing. Then I'm going to be different than what I was before in terms of how you saw me then versus how you see me now. You know what I'm saying? And it means that I'm not going to be acting or be even behaving the way that I used to. The hope is that as we grow older, we learn how to be better, right? I mean, am I wrong? Are we getting better as we go older?
That's the hope. That's the hope. But I mean, it's rough because it's like Demetri brought a good point, and her and Trish pretty much said the same thing. But basically, they're saying it's about Demetrius. I'm sorry. She says sometimes it's about how the director influenced them.
Yeah,
and like Trish says, certain people bring out different things.
And that's true. That's so true.
But here's the thing. Sometimes, again, you're offering the same thing, but I guess how people say you get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. So I guess every director has a different delivery and a different method, but it doesn't always guarantee the same outcome. You get my drift?
Right, but don't you want a different outcome? If the first outcome wasn't as good, then the hope is that the second outcome would be better. I mean, I would hope.
Yeah,
I would hope, that, okay, I'm going to use myself as an example. I would hope that my second marriage wouldn't be anything like my first marriage, as it was. I would hope that I would do better in the second marriage than I did in the first marriage, right?
Hey,
you know what? I'm done. I'm out.
Hey, first marriage.
I'm out.
All right, then, okay.
Oh, my God. This is what I'm coming back to? Is this what I'm coming back to right now? You know what, dude? I'm out, dude. I'm out. I'm done.
I can't stand you, man. I can't resist that.
Oh my God.
I can't resist that. Oh my God. No, listen, I'm making a joke of it, but you're absolutely right. Like, as sobering of a truth as it could be, it really is. Like, what is the point? Honestly, if a person takes the time to separate, leave, divorce, whatever the case. The goal is, if you're going to go forward, to be in a better scenario that works for you.
Exactly.
That doesn't necessarily mean somebody isn't a great person,
right?
Or wasn't a good person. It's just the scenario here works better. I work better under that management. Put it that way. Yeah,
exactly. Because different people can bring out different things in all of us, depending on who we're paired with. That's true for every situation that we're in. That's not, I mean, and it's a reality. You know what I'm saying? That when you move forward, that the hope is, and you're moving forward, you're moving out of your past into your future. becoming better all along as you go. If I remain the same person that I was 25 years ago or even 35 years ago, oh my God, I'm that old. Jesus. The reality is that I have not done what I'm supposed to do as a person. And that is to grow and develop and become better so that I'm better tomorrow than I am today. But if I continue to, watch this, if I continue to stagnate in my development, if I continue to allow the past mistakes of yesterday to paralyze me, then I'll never become who I'm supposed to be when it's all said and done.
That's true.
Yeah.
Bruce says a really good point. I'm going to bring it up here. He says some directors don't stand for less than a stellar performance.
Yeah.
They see it and they call it out. So this is in the relationship standpoint of it. You're right. Some people can see something because you know how they always say it's the little foxes, right?
Right. It is.
Little foxes that make the big fire. But the point is, there's little things that we see that we know are disrespectful. We know that don't work well for the foundation that we're trying to build.
Exactly.
And we overlook them and we just be like, oh, it's okay. It's that person will change and something will come about. It'll be a little different. But honestly, we see the truth right in front of us of these little things. Right. And we ignore them and not realize that if you don't address them and call them out, like Bruce is saying, you're complicit. And so however that production turns out, it turns out the way you let it turn out because you didn't call it out when you saw it. Yeah. And so in other words, Scorsese is such a producer where even though he may love De Niro, he's gonna be like, oh, come on, you got more in you than this. You did more than at the last movie, as opposed to somebody else, independent filmmaker. Oh, that was hot. No, he didn't really do his best, but you just said
he just phoned it in.
He's in your movie, so you're complicit with it. So
he just phoned it in. So you're right. We absolutely need to have people in our lives that are not just attracted to us on the surface, but are attracted to the reality of who we really are. That substantive person on the inside of us that can be really open and vulnerable to them. And it goes to the point that we need to be able to be in relationships with people who we will hold ourselves accountable to. Okay, we don't like that word either. We don't like to be accountable. Hold ourselves accountable to, when they do call us out, when we have not met the standard of what we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to do. When we have not met that standard, they have the responsibility in terms of being in relationship with us to call us out on that and say, hey, you know what? I know that you can do better. Ooh. Let's try that again.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
But now we're getting into the other portion, which is in order to be able to receive that kind of feedback, there has to be trust in that person's judgment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's the thing that we're missing. Most of the time we'll be in these relationships with people and we can like them. We can even say that we're growing to love them. But if we're honest, we don't really trust their judgment, let alone in some areas trust them.
Yeah.
And how you know when you don't trust something, you have trouble letting go.
That's true.
And because when you can tell somebody something and let it go, you're just like, okay, I didn't say it. I asked. That person will take care of it, even if they don't necessarily do it in your time frame. You know that you trust them enough that they're going to do it. But if you have to keep policing and keep reminding and did you sure? Then there's a trust thing going on here. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you need to be able to trust them to the point where you don't have to worry about what you ask them to do. You don't have to worry about them coming through for you in terms of going out on a date or paying a bill or being where you're supposed to be, because your trust is in that place. And so trust requires that, and I think who said it real quick? Demetrius said accountability requires maturity. So does trust.
Yeah,
you have to be mature to trust, and in order for me to trust you, to know that you're going to do what I'm asking you to do. And see, trust is it's not even so much about requests or petitions, but I'm being able to trust you with who I am as a person.
Yeah,
I'm trusting you with me. I'm trusting that you're not going to go out here and get with some other hoe. You know what I'm saying? But that you're going to be faithful to me.
Yeah.
That you're going to be honest with me. That you're going to be truthful to me. That's showing that you have trustworthiness. You know what I'm saying? And I trust you because I believe in the integrity and the character of who you are as a person, as you've shown me already.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Michelle and looks like Michelle and Demetrius, they getting some good kicking up some good arguments here. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But listen, Michelle says on the one part, she says, I think this is the part when I was saying that people are with people who they don't really necessarily trust or their judgment. And she made a good point. She says, then why are you around them? It takes a lot of energy. But here is the thing. We live in a time of mass vacancy of love. So when you have a vacancy, people will jump and deal with some of the most inopportune relationships just to say I'm in it.
Okay.
There's like the whole ideal thing that we're trying to get to. It's far few in between, right? But you still hope for it. But in the meantime, it takes a real strong, independent. And I don't want to overdo strong to make it seem like a woman has to be man-like or a man has to be so unavailable emotionally. But what I'm saying is you have to be comfortable enough in your skin to say, I'm okay to wait for what works for me rather than takes what's convenient for me. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So you have to be able to say to yourself, I don't have to necessarily just take the first thing coming. But let's just be honest. A lot of times I have sat and listened to conversations where people have tried their best to justify a reason for being with someone who they know they really didn't align with.
Wow.
But for the sake of saying that I don't want to be alone, well, I think I can get over the missing tooth a little bit and the fact that, he works for the state. I mean, I know, but I do think he's a nice enough person, knowing good and well, if you had another option, you wouldn't give the state worker time of day. But because sometimes those things are different, and no shot to the state workers, just saying.
Because they're coming for you.
This is the truth of what happens. Some people level up dating standards and levels. They'll be like, well, I'm all the way up here. I'm not dealing with someone over there. But if you get lonely enough, you leave out of that parking garage enough on a Friday night with no plans, you just might take a dinner date.
Wow.
So I'm just saying this happens. And so we have to say to ourselves, so am I willing to just really wait for what I really need? Or Bruce, get him going. Danielle says she says, I'll wait instead of settling. And Bruce says, all settled, Danielle. And so, no, but this is real talk though.
It is real talk. I get it.
Yeah, in most cases, people get really exhausted and fatigued waiting for the person.
Right.
And in the meantime, what happens on set, since we're talking about movies, they call in the next extra on the list.
Right.
Because the extras sign up to be in the movie, however they can get in there. So the ones that don't show up that's on the set, they're going to call the next one on the list. Right. This is what we do in relationships. We look for whoever else is going to be a suitable person.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's a harsh reality. I mean, the hope is that you will find your person. But what do you do in the interim of that? And it's like, and I know so I understand that sometimes, and if we're going to be real with it, let's talk real talk.
Okay.
That sometimes desperation makes you desperate.
Ooh.
And you make desperate decisions based off your disposition of desperations that don't serve you well in the end, because you want know what you want, but you don't see what you want. Yeah. And so you kind of go, all right, so he got a boot and a shoe. And he got, some daggone, some, oh Lord, I'm about to take myself a real. Listen. The reality is that, oh man, I don't know. That's a tough one, because even when I was single, I said to myself, listen, if you don't find nobody else, and I can't speak for nobody else, but if you don't find anybody else to be with, then you got to learn to be okay with you.
Yes.
You have to be cool with you. So if you never find anybody else, and again, this is a hard thing to say because everybody wants to be with somebody. Yeah. That's reality. That's the truth of the matter. We all want somebody to be with us. We all want somebody to love. We want to be loved. We want to show love. We want to have affection. We want to have all these different things. Yeah. But let's be honest. If I'm in the mirror and I had to say to myself, listen, Adam, let's be honest. If you don't find somebody because you ain't that good looking no how, are you going to be okay with you?
Wow.
Are you going to be okay being a single man without anybody else in your life? And that is the question that you have to answer.
This right here is what they're saying. Now, here's the thing. So Michelle started it and everybody else had followed suit. So Michelle says, what did she say? Basically, she was saying, and so I can't find her comment, but what she was trying to say is, she said she's have been single for a long time. So in the meantime, invest in you. Now this, and I'm not picking on you, Michelle, just using this point. This is a good point because this is really the preface for an entirely different show, but I'm gonna make a point.
Right.
Because I would like to know sometimes what is single. And the reason why I say what is single in this instance, because single could just simply mean I'm not accountable to another partner. Okay. I'm out here fending for me. I'm moving about in the world as I please. Mm-hmm. But it does not mean I'm without companion. I'm without situation. So the reason why I'm saying this is that to me, real purging singleness is singleness in its full form. No additives. Okay. No touching, nobody over here, nobody over there. You're really legit working on you. However, what we call single today, I'm not you, Michelle. I don't know your life. Just making a point.
Here we go.
Watch at the screen. What we call single today is I go home, I pay my own bills. Like I like my life. I work, I do this. Oh, I'm just waiting patiently for the right person to come and show up. But in the meantime, I call up Cindy on Friday. I call up Eric, and we'll just go have a nice dinner and we'll talk. And if I so happen to want to have a nightcap, then I'm grown enough to do so. That's the era that we live in. So to me, I look at that as not being single. You're just untitled. Because if you are a person interacting physically with anybody, exchanging spirits in any way, you're not not standing alone. You got someone else in a way with you.
Okay, so I need you to be a little more clear. I need you to, because I'm a little foggy on this. I need you to be. You don't have to get completely explicit, but I need you to be a little more clear. Let
me get dirty. Hold on. This is what I'm saying. I think sometimes, and I'm only saying this because I've been guilty of this myself. I'm not just picking on Michelle. Yeah. I'm saying this in the midst of us being single. We call it single because we don't have a person. Heck, you asked me earlier about what people are saying nowadays. Right. Some years back, somebody who I was talking to, the person says to me when we were starting to talk, she says, so, you single, or you married, you this and that. And so I'm like, I'm not married, blah, blah, blah. She says, so is there anyone in your life that it'll take you longer than 5 minutes to get rid of? She was saying to me, if it's not that deep, you can just pick up the phone and be like, I'm talking to Jennifer now. And that's what we decided to do. Right. And nobody's going to go crazy and come all over your house and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, but I'm only saying that to say, when we are single, but we go and we freely mingle, we are still inviting others inside of us, which does not deem us fully single. Single is a purged state of one. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I got what you're saying. So you're saying that single, I'm about to mess it up. So single people are So you say single people don't date? Is that what you're saying? Single people are just single and they just go out and they do stuff on their own?
No. What I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. I'm not even talking about the date and friend. You know, people having friends. What I'm saying is, in most cases, we don't keep it there.
I see what you're saying.
In most the problem there's nothing wrong at all with somebody saying, "Oh, you know, it's okay with having a drink or a dinner with a friend."
With a friend,
but my point is when we decide to take it other places, then what that does is give us a lifetime of temporary sustainable relationships, because in the meantime, I don't have a label, so to speak. I'm not a wife or a husband. I'm not a girlfriend or a dude, but I have this option whenever people call them fillers.
Got it.
They're fillers.
I got it.
And so there are people who come along and fill the needs in the time of the needs. So the point I'm just saying is when we let that happen like that, it then taints our position.
I got what you're saying.
Of being single.
Right.
So if you're going to keep it single, by all means, go on 1,000 dates. Right. But when you invite them in the bed, it takes you out of the single category. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Because you don't want to do that. That puts you in a compromising position. And not to get overly analytic about it, but you get your emotions wrapped up in that one way or another, whether or not you want to consider that you're disconnected emotionally or you're trying to be dispassionate about it. Oh, this is just a thing that I do just to maintain my own sanity. The reality is that on some level, your quantum physical emotional entanglement is an entanglement. And that's what it is. It's an entanglement. Let's be honest about it. And that's a compromising thing, because now you've tied yourself to somebody who is not committed to you, and you're not committed to them. This is just something that you're doing to, again, maintenance yourself. And that's not necessarily the best way. Let me say it like this. That's not the best way to treat you. You ought to treat you better than what you do. We do. And I think sometimes we justify it in our own minds as being okay. Hey, I'm doing this because it's helping me to get through whatever I need to get through.
Correct.
But that does not serve you in the best way possible, because again, it takes you down. You know what I'm saying? You're entangled in these things, and it's not just the one; it's the many that you're entangled with. You know what I'm saying? And after a while, the question becomes, can you untangle yourself from the entanglement that you've entangled yourself in? You know what I'm saying? Because you're supposed to be single. You're trying to be single. And again, honestly, I want to say this again. Absolutely. Single people, be single.
Yeah.
And enjoy your singleness.
Yeah.
And be cool with your singleness.
Yeah.
Accept your singleness until better comes along.
Ooh,
but in the meantime, in the interim of that, don't settle for less. Yeah. Don't settle for the entanglement. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm just saying, it's not worth it.
I mean, because listen, man, we all can say, I can't speak for the women, but I'm sure if you've ever called yourself, there's no worse feeling than experiencing relationship like agony from something you're not in a relationship with.
That right there.
And that comes from being with people in an unauthorized manner. There's no commitment, there's no marriage, but we have an agreement.
Right.
Under the table agreement. I just paid the cash under the table and we do what we do. But the point is, with that, listen, I can remember, okay, let me go into a brief.
Oh, guess what, y'all? It's story time.
But listen, I remember this was my one. I'm going to say it this way, one of my life lessons. So, I had called myself making this living because I wasn't necessarily in a relationship, that I was going to relate the way that worked for me. Right. And so, the 24-hour rule. But anyway, joking. Anyway, no, this is Adam. But listen, Adam, this is an inside joke. But anyway.
Inside 24 hours, 24 hours.
For me, I felt like, okay, I'm going to, I'll date this way and we be cool, we comfortable, we let that be. And then in most cases, that same person that said, I mentioned earlier about they asked me, could I get rid of somebody in 5 minutes? I thought it was like a cool line in the moment. I was like, oh, no problem. Oh, for real, I'm just doing me. You doing you. So whatever. We get to talking. Oh, listen, don't ever believe when someone tells you, I'm good, like, before intimacy lines are crossed, right? People tell you they're good and I'm grown. I'm in agreement with this. We just friends. Because when it happens, maybe not in all cases, but if something about that exchange triggered a desire in that person, you better watch out. See, it's one thing you can have an exchange and the person might be like, it's okay, all right then, and they good. But if the exchange is deemed pleasurable to them in any way that makes them want to come back, now you're on your way to something. Because now what's going to happen is, because you're human beings, if you keep at it, eventually emotions are going to come, feelings are going to come, you're going to start hearing things be said. You're going to start hearing things be said that really are out of place, that don't have place here. Because it's almost like saying, remember now, this is relationship life, not relationship. Right. And then, but what you mean, you was with me last night. But wait a minute. Again, this is relationship like, not relationship. But you can't tell nobody that if you're intimate with them. See, in a woman's mind, or even some men, when you talking to them like that after being intimate, it triggers an offense. And this is like, how dare you play me like I'm lightweight here when I'm giving you X, Y, Z. You need to produce these expectations, produce some intentions, which takes me to the show later down the line is loving in reverse, dating in reverse. And so what we do is we are okay with bumping up the front, doing everything fun at the front. But then when we realize it's somewhere that we want to be and we like the intimacy, now it's time for fact checking. Yeah, I didn't do that up the front, but because I'm liking this, I need to know everything because I want to be with you. No, that's not what we signed up for. See, this is the dangerous thing about situationships. If you're going to be grown, you got to be grown all the way through.
All the way.
You can't say I'm grown up front. Because it's really what it is. It's really a lie we tell ourselves because we think if we get in bed with you, that gives us enough time to finesse you on the back end to what I really want. And we approach it as a situation because we would rather not deal with the disappointment of someone not being consistent, someone maybe being a liar, someone maybe being married, someone whatever. So we feel like if I just take the self-pleasuring route of just having an agreement that we cool and we do this to help each other get through, that's the backdoor way of getting access to getting to know who you are. So we do that and we live out this lie until we start feeling something. And when we start feeling something, now it is, okay, I need you to start thinking like me. Why? This is relationship like. It's not relationship.
It's not relationship.
Sign up for that. But the person, people don't want to hear that. And that particular situation turned all the way like the hand around. All because the person did not like the dynamics after their feelings were introduced. And because I kept my feelings like this and they didn't, it became World War X.
But isn't that always the way? Isn't that always the way that one person is dispassionate and disconnected from it, whereas the other person has become entangled in it to the point where they can't get out of it?
Here's the trick to it. Here's the trick to it. It's not even that I was not open to the whole thing. Right. The problem is, I don't know about for most men, I'm just telling the women, but how men interpret things like this. I think some women feel as though if I'm agreeable intimately and grown to this agreement, that if I feel like giving myself to Bruce, then I will, right? Women sometimes feel like, I'm going to be grown and we're going to respect each other and that's going to be that. But what you fail to realize is though, once a man knows that you're willing to be casual without commitment, he's going to carry you and see you casual throughout. He doesn't change. He doesn't change his position to be like, oh, now you want to be wifey and married. No, because in his mind, what he cannot lose is, do you make a living of casual? Or is this just a rest stop in your life? That's how we see it. Is this a living that you, because if it's a living, we know that you are likely to have calluses on your heart. That means what normally you should normally feel from my affections, you won't. But you should normally feel from my calls or my positive affirmations and my consistency, you won't recognize it because you're not used to it. So you're just used to being in these little mini entanglements where you just, I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm over here. And the thing is, as men, we don't think sometimes we're as intuitive as women, but I can remember dating people where I could feel their busyness.
Wow.
Like I could feel them, like even just at the dating phase, I felt them being all over the place. Right. And I would just say, you know, I remember telling one person, it's hard to get out of the dating bracket if you're always seen as the dater. In order to get to a place of commitment, a guy has to see you as someone to commit to. If you're just going to be the professional dater, then he knows you are the good time girl. Right. I'll take you out to so-and-so to eat, have fun, or whatever we do after that is that. Right. But if you don't want that alone, you have to present something different. And it works for men and women. You got to present that what you want from that person. Other than that, you get stuck where you are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Ooh, that was a whole lot. Y'all can send your offerings too. Charles Christian at Cash App.
I don't know. But seriously, it's like many of these relationships, we are lying to ourselves. It's like at the end of the day, like so many people are in relationship-like scenarios. They are not, if you call them up, they got friends that'll be like, girl, this week we taking a cruise, a jazz cruise. It's going to be plenty of men there. Now they single, but they're single-like because there's someone they sleeping with. And it's with men too. So, and that hinders you from still growing to the place to meet the real person for you. Because whether you realize it or not, if someone is already in your bed, your life doesn't feel as cold as it needs to.
Right. In order
to bring in the warmth that you need, because it's already lukewarm. Right. So you have to have a cold bed to really embrace the warmth that your heart needs in by way of love. If you always got somebody in your bed, you're gonna miss it because you're content. Yeah. Most people at our age, one of their biggest concerns is, I'm tired of sleeping alone. They don't want to sleep alone. They don't want to be alone. But some of y'all are not alone. Somebody's in your bed every night. In your bed. You ain't got no room. So that person is not your woman. She got a man. She got a husband. She comes by and get taken care of. He's not your man. He got a wife. He tells you that he don't sleep with her. He tells you that he's not happy with her. All of those things. But he's an interruption in your life. Wow. Anybody that's inside of you unlawfully is an interruption.
Wow.
Period. If that person doesn't have a purpose inside of your life, it's an interruption.
Somebody say interloper.
That's how you got to look at it. Yeah, you got to say it's an interruption. And we got to get to a point where that interruption becomes big enough of a disruption to do something about it. Because if you don't, everybody is just a soft call away from a warm bed. Wow. What you doing? You know I miss you. Yeah, I know. Wow. You ain't serious, Billy. You playing. Come on, man. I'm going to bring through that E and J. All right, then. And you let the door open, and here go the person, and there you go. And they leave right on back on out single, and you single. Yeah. So it's just like it's a cycle. Women do it too. Women will they'll come right over to your house, hang out, do what y'all do. All right, then. And you feel like a fool, empty fool on the end, the other side of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know what it is. So it's just not worth it, man.
Woo wee! Somebody's on fire.
That's it. You got to stop, man. Because this whole give me some because I need some, but you're not the one has to stop.
Yeah. True
You
that.
know, a lot of us do the give me some because I need some, even though I don't see you as the one.
Right.
And that doesn't do good for nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Because again, it's like you already said, it's relationship like, but it's not actually the relationship.
Correct.
It's a facsimile. You know what I'm saying? It's an artificial sweetener. It ain't real sugar. It ain't real sugar. It has bad side effects and it leaves a bad aftertaste in your mouth after you done drank that whatever is it, lemonade or iced tea.
Yeah.
But it ain't real sugar.
It's not real.
It's not real.
A substitute.
It's a substitute. It's the facsimile. It's the artificial thing. Yeah. Nobody wants it to be artificial, man. That's why would again, let's put this out there. We got to close. But why would you settle for something that's not really going to satisfy you? You're settling for the unsatisfactory experience, basically.
We're settling because we have not cleaned our lenses. When you don't clean the lenses, you only can see 2 feet in front of you. Right. So we don't have the faith that it takes to say over there is someone coming in my direction. Right. We only deal within a short distance. So when you're only dealing with a short distance with no faith, you are just going to take whatever's in your way that's going to be comforting in the moment.
It's easy.
But if you hold fast and clean your glasses, clean your vision, clean just your faith, as we say, you will be able to say, listen, I don't have to live a life like this.
Right.
A defeated, because it's really a defeated life.
It is.
Where you're taking more L's than you are W's. And so you got to say to yourself, I don't want to keep living this defeated life just because I don't want to be alone. Heck, it's harder being single and defeated than being single and leveled. If you be single, alone, leveled, you control the temperature of your house. Hot or cold is by you touching the thermometer. But if someone else is in there, they all over there. You ever seen somebody offend you at your house? You keep your thing on 80. You look on there, it's 85. They done turned up there. Oh, I like it to be high. Well, I don't. Leave my thermometer alone. This is what happens when you let people in your life that should not be there. So that's why I'm saying if you are going to be single, the way you're going to have the success is keeping people out of your bed until you have the relationship. Because if you don't, you are in a relationship-like scenario. You're not single. You're just relationship-like.
You might have to retitle this one. You might have to break this off and do another piece right here because
we got to keep that. What is single? That's for sure.
Right, man.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
They mad out there. They mad now.
You know, on tonight, I want 10 people to stand in line.
Oh my God.
$100 on tonight. Close the door, ushers. Close the door. On tonight, we're going to. You believe you have been blessed of the Lord.
You are fool.
You are. Anyway, all right. This was good. We appreciate you all. Shout out to Michelle coming back. We haven't seen you in a while. Michelle used to be supporters of us back in the Natalie and Rhonda era.
Oh, cool, cool.
She's been in the audience back then. Appreciate you for coming through. You all, some newbies that I may not have caught their name on here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in with us. We're here every Thursday at 4:30 Central Standard Time. You know, we always coming out with a new topic. If you're friends or you're on this page at all, each week we'll put out within a couple of days what the next show for the next week will be. So as usual, we look forward to seeing you guys in the audience. We thank you for your comments, and y'all make this thing live for us when y'all keep on with us. So we definitely, because we needed some kickoff today. You know, I'm just getting over I've been under the weather, so I was a little slow today.
You didn't act like it.
I appreciate it. So I had to get my help from the Lord. But anyway, we appreciate it on tonight. We will definitely see y'all next week.
Make sure you share and like it. Making sure you share and like the program for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Appreciate y'all. Peace.
The doors of the Love Church are now open. Dear world, you name it, we cover it from the world of singles to the behind the scenes of the greatest movie ever filmed, called Marriage. We dig into everything from dating 101. Why won't they commit? It's complicated. I can't do it if it's the three of us. They're a good person, but I'm not attracted to them in that way. 2, they really didn't disclose who they were before I said I do. How do I do this if they can't keep a job? The bills are paid, but the bedroom is suffering. Did I marry you or did I marry your family? Because we only can take care of us. Let's open up our marriage. Why do I have to buy into your beard gang illusion? You could have told me you were down low and we could have remained friends and not married. And last but not least, did you marry me or your pastor? Have we gotten your attention yet? If so, tune in to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to hear more of today's real issues in the world of love. The doors of the Love Church are now open.
Oh, I forgot about the after show. I'm about to chill out. I'm chilling. I'm sitting here lowering my desk and everything like that. I'm about to go, whew, all right. This is the after show, y'all. Oh, my goodness gracious. That's going up and down. Things flying around, bottles of water flying around.
Listen, man, people got to go into their phones, and everybody in that phone that is relationship light, put light by that name.
Ooh, yeah.
Light by the name.
Yeah.
You know, everybody got people in their phone that call their phone that are relationship like people, but they're not relationship people because they want you, but they don't want what comes with you. They just want you. So you got to be able to get rid of that so that this can clear out your reservoir. It's hard enough dealing with carrying you around,
right?
When someone connects to you.
Yeah.
So if you come, the more heavy weight you come with, and the more bodies on your back, you appear weighty to people. Yeah. People can sense that you got a lot with you and that you're not coming in a singular vein, but you're coming with all of this stuff, and it becomes unattractive.
It does.
Yeah,
it does. I mean, the reality is I don't want to be with somebody who wants to just use me to satisfy themselves. And that's the reality of it all. If this is just your maintenance yourself, maintaining yourself in terms of getting over the hump because you haven't had any in a long time, then what are we talking about? Honestly, you know what I'm saying? Why would you settle for something like that? Why wouldn't you want an actual functioning, healthy and whole relationship? That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to settle for it. I'm not doing that.
But everybody is not giving it out. You know, I understand why people do it because it's not out here readily available. Like commitment is not readily available. It's not a store that sells commitment. Okay. It's just if you run up on somebody that sees you in that way and are consistently serious about it, good. But in most cases, especially today, and I believe the reason we see less and less of commitment is because there's less and less of trust in the system. People don't trust the system of love to work anymore. It's slighted from one gender to the other. Oh, I'm only in it for somebody going to take from me. It's not good enough if I don't make enough of this. Oh, I don't trust one person to be committed enough to not cheat. So what we do is we make up all of these workarounds to make our life sufficient in the interim. And that's what happens. But anyway, that's a whole nother day, another show.
Yeah, it is. We did like 3 shows in one today. How about that?
I know. This is the real signing off.
Right.
You say y'all. Shout out to next week. Holla.
Peace.